contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, say it with me. Special elections, buddy.
Hey, Crudy, special elections indeed. How you doing, man?
It's almost like the governor of the state of Wisconsin offered me an early birthday present.
June 12th, Crudy.
My birthday.
That's your birthday.
Your birthday shortly thereafter. You and Donald Trump share June 14th, President's Day?
Flag Day.
Oh, Flag Day.
Yes. Most patriotic.
I have not yet seen Trump desecrate the flag, but he'll get there.
Yeah.
Scott Walker desecrating democracy here in the state of Wisconsin.
Trying to, all in the name of fiscal responsibility.
Buddy, he ran out of options. He ran out of appeals. Hell, I don't think he had the votes of the Senate-led, or perhaps I should say Republican-led Senate, didn't have the votes in the Senate to jam through this retroactive, let's change democracy after the fact law. Voss and the crew, they'd have been willing co-conspirators.
Absolutely.
But at least a couple of the Senate caucus, I got to think on the Senate side, Dom, Luther Olson, a few others must have pushed back. Otherwise, they'd be going to extraordinary super-duper session to bail Scott Walker's ass out of the sling he put himself in.
Yes, this is of his own doing.
Absolutely, 100%. Just like Foxconn. But beyond that, he didn't have the votes in the Wisconsin Supreme Court either.
I think Pat must have given an update.
Yeah, someone give me
all
old.
That, Scott.
I cannot find a single law to justify your actions and apparently budgetary concerns.
Well, you could, I don't know, maybe say, instead of holding elections as promptly as possible, you could interpret promptly to mean never.
Or whenever I damn well please.
Yes.
Do you think there's a blue wave coming, Dom?
I don't know. I mean, I think if the energy stays up, sure. No doubt. Oh, you forgot. No doubt about it. But yes, the headline, of course, we'll get to that. Molly Beck, Matthew DeFore in the Wisconsin State Journal. Scott Walker calls for special elections on June 12th for vacant legislative seats. But let's remember how we got here. This is today. Not so long ago in the not so distant past, yesterday, Scott Walker and Fitzgerald specifically, and some others, Crudy, they were testifying. Walker did not testify, but State Senator Scott Fitzgerald did testify. And it was his contention, and we briefly mentioned it yesterday, but I've tracked down the audio on WISI, and this is what he had to say yesterday regarding these special elections. Brian, if you would please, let's play cut number 1.
The voters are currently represented. Each resident of the 42nd Assembly seat has a state senator, and each resident of the 1st Senate District has 3 sitting state reps. So I do believe that they would be represented.
and I'd like to consider myself sort of Uncle Fitzy to all the unrepresented voters in the state, so it's all good, right? Uncle Fitzy's got your back.
It wasn't Uncle Fitzy, it was Uncle Democratic Senator Mark Miller asking Fitzgerald some questions. He had this to say, cut number 2.
I've received 271 communications from voters and clerks asking me to vote against the bill. A number of these are from the 1st Senate District because they do not have a state senator. They are very concerned that they're going to be denied representation, continued denied representation for the entire year of 2018. There will be no representation. They have to write to me.
So what about that, Senator Fitzgerald? Well, he had an answer to this. What about Andre Jacques Cut 3?
I'm sure that Representative Jacques or Representative Kitchens are more than willing to talk to their own constituents about any issues that might emerge.
Uncle Andre?
On the floor of the House. So.
Yeah, so, I mean, if that's the case, if that's the philosophy, why do we need, I don't know, perhaps you, Senator Fitzgerald? And I did call Fitz's office today to ask for him to come on. He was on some other less quality radio shows today, but I never got a call back.
They didn't place him on this show. Did you mention to him that 1580 AM WTTN, right in the midst of his district, Dom?
Right in his backyard.
You know what else is covered with the 1580 signal, Dom?
What's that?
The 42nd Assembly District of the state of Wisconsin. I looked it up on Ballotpedia just so I understood the contours.
Right.
You know where the 42nd lies? Right dead in the strength of our signal at 1580 AM.
Nice.
And you know what we got going on later today, Dom?
What, man?
I'm so excited. I can barely even get it up.
Get it out.
I'm giddy about it. We are going to launch a campaign. Not you or I
am not running.
We have a Jane Doe candidate. Someone's going to announce their candidacy in the 42nd Assembly District, and she's going to do so at 5:06. Your little notes, they're wrong.
Oh, we got a
Yeah, you got those switched around. Also, there's already been a campaign announcement. His name, Caleb Frostman. He is currently the executive director of the Door County Economic Development Corp, and he's a candidate for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. Caleb's also going to be on this big show. I guess they've already announced, but effectively he's launching his candidacy before the fine audience of the Devil's Advocates today.
Excellent.
So we've got both, or at least the two known candidates. In this special election, Dom, we're going to introduce you to.
Can't believe it.
She'll be known as Jane Doe candidate for now. And Caleb Frostman, again, a fine candidate. And let's not forget, we got a Dem gubernatorial candidate coming down to Brady Street. We got Dana Wachs coming at like 3:30. Dom, it is another
It just keeps happening.
spectacular show. It feels like it's my birthday.
It's almost your birthday, Crudy. June 12th is the special election day and Crudy's birthday.
Is it too early to start celebrating?
Never.
Is it too early to start making predictions about the outcomes?
Maybe.
Let's meet the candidates first.
Yes. Let's get to some of this down. Again, this is from yesterday, going way back. Republicans trying to justify why we should not have these special elections. I haven't heard of this one before. Wisconsin Rep. Kathy Bernier from the 68th Assembly District. Now, she used to be in the elections.
She'd be cooler if she's from the 69th.
Nice. How much, Kathy, do special elections cost? Cut number 4.
Thousands. I did get, somebody ran some numbers and I got an unofficial $15,000 for the one Senate seat, I believe. I did talk to a municipal clerk.
So, I mean, somebody said 15.
And somebody on the bus said like $1 million.
Well, Crudy, and you know, we just a little bit. Certainly will cost more than $15,000 in the totality. Perhaps I've seen numbers up to $300,000. But that's
between the two special election races.
Correct. But that's not it, Crudy. You know, it's not just the elections. It's the cost of, you know, the office supplies.
Here's another issue. So if I, as county clerk, have memory chips or memory cards for my machines, and I have one that's for each election, and I save the data, I may have to purchase an additional memory stick because I cannot erase the one, and you know, I'm not really up on the actual time frames today, and maybe the election commission can comment on it, but I had to save those over a duration of time and transfer that data, and they may need to have additional memory sticks. I'm not sure, but that's also a significant cost.
A significant cost?
Dominic, may I just say, on behalf of WRD, WTTN, the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network, Mike Root, I pledge the cost of every county clerk's memory stick if that expedites moving forward with this special election, Dom.
Now, Crudy,
I will eat the cost of those thumb drives.
I just want to put a little perspective on this. Since we started here, we have gone through a total of 2 memory sticks. The first one we inherited when we got the station. The second one I picked up at an auto show. It was a keychain that was also a memory stick. That's one that we're currently using. That's how hard it was to obtain a memory stick for all the things we use here.
Free at the auto show?
Yes.
Buddy, the memory sticks I'm going to give out to the county clerks, they're going to be Devil's Advocates memory sticks.
Yeah, and I did jump online.
People give those away for free as
I think that's a great thing for whoever's running should give away memory sticks.
Wisconsin State Rep Kathy Bernier, they will cost perhaps as much as $3 or $4 each, depending on the size of the stick. It's significant cost.
If the governor wants to look me up here on our Brady Street studio, he would have to come down, but I would gladly reimburse. I bet you I got cash enough in my pocket. I'd cover the cost of the memory sticks.
Oh my God. So it's the expense of the memory sticks, and it's the fact that there's other representatives in, the senatorial district that perhaps some of those folks, if they had an issue with their government, could call. These are the reasons why Republicans didn't want to call for special elections. But yesterday, Crudy, last night, Governor Scott Walker, he was on an inferior radio station doing a little conversation with a radio host, and he came out with all the reasons. Again, he did say he was going to do it, and today he announced it. But the legal process, Crudy, this is all meaningless and just a waste of money.
So you're telling me the governor of the state of Wisconsin told the whitey-righty audience at a radio event last night at a hotel before he told the state of Wisconsin that we were having special elections? I guess he wanted to give the Republicans a head start, Tom? Is that how that works? He did sound like Droopy Dog. I'm going to call for special elections.
We do have some of that sound. We're going to punish it with you on the other side
The
of this
tone
break.
tells it all, though. He's quite disappointed, which makes me gleeful. Come back with us, Devil's Advocates. More Walker bashing before Dana Wachs joins us in studio. You're listening to the Devil's Advocates on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network. That phone number, 844-967-2789.
If I called it today, it couldn't be till after the beginning of April, for which we'd be days away from the special election and probably a good month after the legislature adjourned.
I wish you weren't a liar.
I will call them from now on losers, because that's what they are. They're losers.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Matt Rothschild here from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. I love being on Resistance Radio because I get to tell you who's throwing money around in the state capitol. It's disgusting. Wisconsin's not open for business. It's open for bribery. And Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss have turned the Capitol into an ATM for their corporate cronies. At the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, we blow the whistle on all of them. So please go to our website at wisdc.org, check out our latest stories, and send us a donation. We need a louder whistle.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Twitter is @Devil Radio, and the party line for texting or calling 844-967-2789.
Dominic, this little ditty's called Party's Over. No, it ain't. Just getting started. Special election, state of Wisconsin, June 12th. Droopy Dog, our governor, Scott Walker, made the announcement to a righty-tighty hotel right-wing radio event last night. He seemed quite disappointed about it.
Apparently they weren't serving any alcohol at that joint either.
And my birthday, June 12th. The only thing that could make it a little bit sweeter, of course, we need 2 blue seats, 2 pickups, Tom. Then I'll be a happy man on my birthday.
Let's hear some of Governor Scott Walker from his conversation last night. Let's start with cut number 6, please, Brian.
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to call a special election. It'll be for June 12th for a special election to fill a vacancy in the State Assembly and the State Senate. We went through the legal process going forward, and it is amazing as to how far out-of-state liberals will go to push a meaningless process that's a waste of the taxpayers' money.
Meaningless process.
Out-of-state liberals?
Now, here are, Crudy, I hold in my hands the actual filing.
The litigants, the plaintiffs.
Robert Dallas Newton Jr., Brandon, Wisconsin. Jane Newton, Brandon, Wisconsin. Desiree Frank, Brandon, Wisconsin. Robert Christofferson, Poynette, Wisconsin. Richard Baker, Poynette, Wisconsin. Amy Fimister, Sturgeon Bay. Jennifer Meyer, Green Bay. And Alvin Meyer, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Plaintiffs versus Scott Walker in his official capacity as governor of Wisconsin. To my knowledge, Crudy, all those are citizens of this fine state.
Are you sure that's not against Scott P. Walker?
And he's Scott K. Walker? Let's keep going from Scott Walker last night, cut number 7.
If you want people who push meaningless things that cost the taxpayers money, go along with Eric Holder and the liberal Democrats who are pushing their agenda in this state. If you want people who are actually going to save your taxpayers money and spend it on things that mean something, then stick with Republicans.
And we could save all sorts of money if Governor Walker just, disbanded the Assembly and the Senate and just took over. All we need is Scott.
Sounds like Trump.
See what I'm saying? Let's keep going. Last night. Now, here's the confusing part. All the important dates. Cut number 8.
So we're going to call it. The election will be on June 12th. People will have from tomorrow until April 17th to circulate nomination papers. Now think about that date for a minute. On April 15th, people running this fall for the state assembly, for the state senate, and statewide office will be taking out nomination papers from April 15th, and they'll be due June 1st. So 2 days before nomination papers are due for the special election, people will be taking them out for the fall, and the special election will be held 12 days after nomination papers are due for the fall. So people will be running for a spot at the same time they'll be running for the fall election. That's why this is meaningless. The legislature will be adjourned. It is a waste of the taxpayers' money. And frankly, if I lived in those districts, I'd say forget about running in the special. Let's just focus on the fall when it actually means something, because that's when people are coming out. But I know they'll contest it in both cases.
Yeah, they'll contest it. Why, then, do you think Governor Walker, Andre Jacques, and Alex Renard, Republicans, are going to run for the 1st Senate District?
Well, they want the benefit of incumbency as well, Don.
Oh, yes.
The good kind, the conservative kind. Because, of course, by extension, that little statement, you don't want these liberal policies. What you really want is more of my ham-handed conservative policies, like giving away $4.5 billion to a foreign corporation. True conservatism.
Later,
Tom.
he refers to himself as center-right to this audience.
Center-right?
Yeah.
Center-right?
I'm just saying.
What, center-right of Donald Trump? What's your anchor? What are your metrics for center-right?
We'll have to listen to it later, folks.
He's a little more center-right than the Koch brothers? What exactly are you implying, Wankinator?
Come on, man. It's an election season. He's got to, tack it to the middle a little bit. At least say the words. But you heard them, folks. Meaningless, worthless, a waste of money to, have elections for people to be represented in state government.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Scott Walker. We'll have 2 fine candidates. Caleb Frostman, he's running in the Senate first. We got a Jane Doe. Can't tell you her name until after 5. And we got State Rep Dana Wachs. He's a Dem gubernatorial candidate. A full show, a big one. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
I love being governor.
You know what? I'm happy.
Le who? The her.
Wanker.
Hi, Wisconsin. This is Mark Kelly, husband of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Gabby and I want to strongly urge you to vote for Judge Rebecca Dallett this Tuesday, April 3rd, in the election for Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Our family has experienced gun violence firsthand, and what we need on the bench are judges like Rebecca Dallett who understand that pain, who will enforce the law, and who won't be swayed by special interests. The NRA has endorsed Judge Dallett's opponent in hopes that he will be a rubber stamp for the corporate gun lobby's agenda.
Captain Kelly, I'm honored to have your and Gabby's support. Friends, I'm running to return independence and balance to our state's highest court, and I hope to earn your support too.
Join Gabby and me in supporting Judge Rebecca Dallett for Wisconsin's Supreme Court on April 3rd. Dallett on the ballot this Tuesday.
Paid for by Dallett for Justice.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee public schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. And I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Governor Walker has given up on his attempts to hold off special elections and has now called for 2 special elections for state lawmaker seats that have been open since December. Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says Republicans are giving up on a bill they have been trying to rush through the State House that would have eliminated the requirement for the governor to call for special elections. And the Bucks get the spotlight tonight on national television when they go to Oakland to take on the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. Mostly sunny this afternoon and then partly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight in the upper 20s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. Saturday, rainy and windy with highs again in the mid-40s. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, we've been joined by a fine guest, a Dem gubernatorial candidate. He's our friend, State Rep Dana Wachs. Dana, welcome back to Brady Street. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates, I think we're called.
I'm glad to be here. It's fun to be back.
Yeah, thank you.
Dana, got to start with the headline of the day. Special elections. Ironically, on my birthday, I wonder if Scott Walker knew.
He's giving you a gift.
There you go.
Dana, I want to get your reaction. Nowhere else for Scott Walker to run away from democracy, apparently. I don't think he had the votes at the Supreme Court. I don't think he had the votes in the Senate. I mean, I think he's stuck, and he called special elections today in the Senate 1st and the Assembly 42nd. And these are Republican districts. Dana, what's he afraid of?
Well, I'll tell you, I think there's a blue wave coming. I don't know if it's tsunami level or what level of wave it is, but I think they see what's coming. And it's about time. These guys, these guys walk around with American flags on the lapel of their coats, and what do? They're trying to frustrate democracy wherever they can. We've got a redistricting system in this state that I'm cautiously optimistic and hopeful that the United States Supreme Court will find it unconstitutional. We've got these guys not wanting to call special elections. I mean, we are not a banana republic. People in this state understand the importance of democracy and understand the importance of having their voices heard. This is ridiculous, and this is going to stop. And I think you're right. I think he was cornered, and he's finally going to let this happen.
Dana, we heard him last night. He did some Radio Insights event talking about the governor. Sound like droopy dog. Told the Republicans last night, before he made the announcement to the state of Wisconsin, and he had his Solicitor General Misha Tetzlin as recently as yesterday telling the Wisconsin Supreme Court it's coming. Well, Dana, if we look back historically, John Doe too, when the governor, Scott Walker, was corruptly campaigning in coordination with third-party groups in direct contrast, effectively breaking Wisconsin campaign finance law as it was on the books at that time. Well, the Wisconsin Supreme Court effectively gave him a get-out-of-jail-free card. They codified his bad behavior, his illegal behavior, ex post facto. I don't know if that's the right use, sir, but I know you're an attorney. You'll correct me.
Yeah, but I'm taking medication for that.
But I was very concerned, Dana, that if this had gotten as far as the Wisconsin Supreme Court, they would have found any sort of rationalization to make the ends justify the means. And
I hope not, but they might have. But this statute's fairly clear. I mean, it's just amazing that this got to this level. But this is all the more reason to make darn sure that Rebecca Dallett gets elected. We can't play with this anymore. They're playing with our republic here, and it's just unacceptable behavior. And we got to make sure that we have a Supreme Court that really respects and understands the law.
Well, Dana, I thought the first three judicial opinions that said must hold elections, including the Scott Walker appointee,
the first
Reynolds,
one was
I believe.
Walker appointee.
The other one, I don't know the conservative, but it wasn't a Dane County judicial activist. But of course, next Tuesday, April 3rd, Election Day in the state of Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race you point out, we also favor Dallett on the ballot, but that should have been the special election day. All this rigmarole about expenditures to Wisconsin's taxpayers, if you'd have called the elections, when you pulled these two seats vacant, he grabbed these two, plucked these two for his administration. He knew the vacancies existed. He calls the special elections, no additional cost to the taxpayers. Dana, this is so disingenuous. He must have burned $500,000 in legal appeals in the last week on this case.
Could have. There's no question. I mean, there's all this wrangling and monkeying around, trying not to have, people have their voices heard. People being able to vote. This is about as fundamental as it gets. These guys monkey around with this and try to put it off. It's disgusting.
Now, Dana, I know that we've been ranting and raving down here in Milwaukee. You can hear us now in Madison as well. But what about in your part of the state, up in the Eau Claire area? Have you been talking to constituents? Have people brought it up? I mean, it wasn't so long ago that the 10th Senate District, which is near your neck of the woods, went through a special election. That went from red to blue. But certainly people in Eau Claire must have opinions about this governor's actions. Do you think the electorate is aware of just how corrupt this looks to those of us that care?
I think so. I mean, that's the feeling and sense I get up there. Although I got to tell you, Walker's in Eau Claire right now more than I am. I mean, and I think there's a reason for that, too. I mean, he's up there again today.
Is there a part of the state that man's still welcome in, Dana?
Well, I think he knows and understands that he's got to do well in northwestern Wisconsin, or he doesn't get reelected. He can't make the votes up that we're fixing to make sure he loses up there. And so if you've noticed, he's there a couple times a week sometimes. And that's where I come from, and I'm very well known up there. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons he's up there. Quite sure it is.
There is that progressive pocket around Eau Claire, but northern part of the state, north of Portage, as they sometimes say, quite red, or at least has been in the most recent elections. But here's the wild card. Donald Trump is wildly popular with his base, the remaining Republicans, those that still identify. Scott Walker's got a hell of a tightrope to walk to somehow distance himself, yet still embrace this candidate. Dana, where do you think Scott Walker falls? Is he going to embrace Cheeto Jesus, or is he going to somehow run away from the man?
I don't know. But he's been with Donald Trump on so many issues. I'm not sure how much distance he can get in reality. He's pretty well linked with him, and we're fixing to make sure he stays linked with him, because it's the truth. I mean, the truth of the matter is that Scott Walker is all about Scott Walker, and when it was convenient, he's going to be as tight to Donald Trump as humanly possible. Now he sees some problems there, so he dances a little bit toward the moderate scale. He's offering $100 for folks for a tax break with children. He's trying to put a little more money into the education system that he functionally just almost destroyed. But people can see through that. People are understanding that up north, and people are understanding it all over the state. I think we're going to win this election. I think I will win the governorship, And I think that northern Wisconsin sees through this guy, and so does western Wisconsin. And I know the rest of the state does for sure, too. I think people in Wisconsin have values. They value democracy. They value honesty. They value being kind to other people, not being mean. And I think that Walker's violating all of that. And I think they're starting to see it.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. State Rep Dana Wachs, he is a Democratic gubernatorial candidate, joins us in studio. Dana, this attack on elections is of all the things that Scott Walker has done, this is one that really, really gets to me. In their defense of their position, they're claiming, I heard testimony from Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald yesterday. Well, hell, those people in those districts, they still have representation. You know, there's other state reps that are there. You know, what's the big deal in the assembly district? Well, there's a senator that you can lean on there. So if that's the case, why do we need any government? Why not just have Governor Walker? Number two, the cost.
Don't give him any ideas, please.
But that's the logic. Yeah, the cost. Apparently, flash drives will be a very expensive. I heard testimony on that end as well. It's and then they go, and to me, this is the big one, trying to hide behind those in the service. And certainly, you know, those that serve overseas, it's more difficult to get the absentee ballots, to get their votes counted. But they had an opportunity to address this in earlier legislation, and they did not. And now they bring it up as something to hide behind. And now what? Governor Walker comes out last night. This is pointless. This is worthless. This is a waste of money. Dana, do you think that this will resonate with those, if people in Wisconsin certainly do like their representatives who are nice, like their representatives to be honest, as you mentioned, do you think that there will be blowback? Is there damage done with the electorate on this issue in the state of Wisconsin?
I think so. I think people see through this. I think they understand how important it is to vote. And I just don't. The thing that stuns me is the brazenness of this. The guts it takes to stand up and come up with some of the stuff that these guys come up with. It's just unbelievable.
It is, yes.
And, you know, it really does get very serious because this is our democracy we're talking about. This is our way of life.
Well, and then they try to hide behind, and I've heard this mentioned on right-wing radio from Republicans, Eric Holder's group. But there's a bunch of people from Wisconsin who are plaintiffs in this case. This isn't about out of state. These you know, Eric Holder doesn't have standing in the state of Wisconsin. These are citizens of the state that none of the Republicans mentioned Robert, Jane, Desiree, Richard, Amy, Jennifer, Alvin. Their names aren't mentioned. It's Eric Holder and his outside group. Do you think the tie to the liberal, outstate liberal, is going to help them at all?
Well, I don't know, but we look at this lawsuit and think about it for a minute. What we're trying to do is have a republic. We're trying to have a functional republic. That's what this is about. These guys don't like it because they can read the tea leaves and they see that there's a wave coming. And all of a sudden they're trying to find one excuse or another to stay in power. It's all about brazen power grab. That's what this is, and it really gets my blood pressure up when I get on this issue. And it's a darn shame that we've come to this in Wisconsin. These guys, they should be ashamed of themselves, flat out.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We'll ask our friend Dana Wachs to stick around. He's a fine state rep. He's a Dem gubernatorial candidate. He's a friend of ours. Dana, stick around. More Devil's Advocates right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network. 1510 a.m. Milwaukee, 1580 a.m. Columbus, Madison. We'll be right back.
Scott Walker.
Everything you always wanted in a
governor
and less.
Shame.
Hey, Wisconsin, Congresswoman Gwenmore here, and I'm encouraging you to get out and vote on Tuesday, April 3rd for Rebecca Dallett for Supreme Court. Judge Dallett has spent more than 2 decades as a prosecutor and a judge. She's been a champion for victims of human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence, and she helps make Milwaukee safer for our children. Judge Dallett also understands the challenges of mass incarceration and racial profiling and will make our justice system smarter and more fair. I support Judge Rebecca Dallett, and so should you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Moore. I'm honored to have your support. I'm running because our Supreme Court is broken and special interests have too much power. I will bring independence and balance, and I hope to have your vote.
Vote Dallett on the ballot on Tuesday, April 3rd.
Paid for by Dallett for Justice.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. Educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P4PPC.org, P4PPC.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. If you miss any of this fine show or want to relive its glory, please go online, domicroot.com. You can download or listen to podcasts and interviews.
We were just warning our friend, State Rep Dana Wachs, gubernatorial candidate on the Democratic side. PolitiFact's listening. If not live on Memorex, they listen to the podcast. They'll know what you say. You better keep it straight. Although I don't know how Governor Scott Walker doesn't end up pants on fire damn near every day of his life. Dana, you got a big field of Democrats. And
is that right?
You got to break through, sir. Here's my question. And I've been to my share of the forums and to some of these events like Grassroots Festival. I know we sent Earl up to Fighting Bob up in Wausau. And we've got this radio station, I don't know if we've made this official yet, but we're doing an educational forum for the gubernatorial candidates. Hopefully you've been invited. Consider this an invitation May 12th. It will broadcast on WRD and WTTN. run by WEAC Region 7, MTEA, Busted Pencils, and Earl Ingram. But all the gubernatorial candidates will be coming down to the Miramar in Milwaukee. Hopefully you'll be amongst them. And we're going to match you guys up like 2 an hour, give you sort of a different feel, prepare you better for what it's going to be like when you win the primary. And then it's head-to-head against the gubernator. And here's the question part.
I look forward to that, actually.
Going head-to-head with Walker?
Absolutely.
I hope so. How do you punch this man in the mouth? This PK, this preacher's kid, this false nice guy. Well, if you look at his policies, there's no nice there. Dana, how are you going to take this guy on head-to-head in a 1-hour debate when you don't get a hell of a lot to say and not a lot of interaction? How are you going to wound this man over his own record? Dana, don't give away all your secrets, but just a few for the audience.
Well, we'll hit him with our secret weapon, the truth. We'll just hit him with the truth.
That often wounds him.
It's when you have a case. I've spent 32 years in the courtrooms, and when you have a case that you believe in, and when you have a case that you know is right, and when you have a case that you know other people are going to know that it's right, it's an easy case to make. I'm going to stand there. We're going to talk about this record. What's he done for regular folks in this state? We're in a cascade, a downward plunge in wages. That's directly and proximately related to the fact that he's taken unions away. People are working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. That's not the Wisconsin we used to know prior to Walker. And we're going to turn that around. You take unions away and you start crushing the middle class, you watch what happens to your economy. We've never seen people's wages drop like this before. We have the 3rd quickest shrinking middle class of all states in the United States right now. Meanwhile, our neighbor to the west, I don't want to sound like Sarah Palin in any way, but from Eau Claire, I can look to the west and you can see economic prosperity. They make $8,000 more per family in Minnesota than we do here. 2 nearly identical states. One had the Petri dish experiment by far right-wing lunatic economics. The other state is a progressive state. Take a look at who's doing better. Minnesota's doing much better than we are.
But Dana, his defense. Lowest historic unemployment rate. We're doing great. And I cut taxes. Vote for me again.
Well, let's take a look at that. The entire country has a lot of people going to work. We just make less in Wisconsin. And that's, just look across that St. Croix River and the Mississippi River to Minnesota. It's proof positive that this Petri dish experiment over here in Wisconsin is not working. It's not working.
Dana, let me ask you about another issue that obviously has sort of swept up the nation since the Parkland, Florida shooting. Mm-hmm. And we've seen massive marches, Madison, Milwaukee, around the state of Wisconsin, all around the nation. We've seen kids marching down to Paul Ryan's office, down to his district in Janesville. And the governor of the state of Wisconsin, when he was running for president, went and spoke to the NRA, bragged about his A+ rating, talked about spreading the good works of the NRA all across the country. And mostly when these things happen, these tragedies, Scott Walker offers thoughts and prayers and cover fire for the NRA. Got to ask you, Eau Claire is much different than where I live in Madison, where Dom lives in Milwaukee. The NRA, the gun safety issue, Dana, how does this play in your candidacy? How do you play this issue?
Well, here's what you do. I am a hunter, been a hunter my whole life. Deer hunt, grouse hunt, pheasant hunt. There's no probably about it. I am the hardest on these gun safety issues of all the candidates. I want to ban the sale of assault weapons. I want to close that gun show loophole. I want to bring back the 48-hour waiting period. That's saved countless lives, thousands of lives probably, because we've had it since the 70s. I want to get rid of these bump stocks and these magazines that carry 30 bullets. There's no reason for that. You do not need an assault weapon, a deer hunt. If you do, there's something wrong with you. You're not hunting very well.
Well, Scott Walker, never much of a shot. I know he blew his thumb off the last time he went. Dana, got to ask you, the governor recently signed a $100 million quote-unquote school safety bill. Didn't include any sort of gun legislation whatsoever. Mostly it seems like there's a new slush fund over at the DOJ. And we know Brad Schimmel, the Republican Attorney General, has advocated for arming teachers. Scott Walker, as recently as 2012, after Sandy Hook, advocated for arming teachers. Dana, my question, do you think there is a slippery slope here where we're going to see Wisconsin teachers armed in the classroom if Scott Walker were reelected?
That's, that's just stupid, to be quite frank. It just flat out is. I mean, these guys will dance
I'm
around.
not disagreeing with you, Dana.
These guys dance around the periphery of these issues and won't get to the heart of it because their buddies, the NRA, won't let them. We need to deal with these guns. We need to have gun safety in this society. When you deer hunt and you see what a 308 or a 30-06 does to a deer, you have a lot of respect for that weapon. But these guys are parading around with these assault weapons thinking that that's something good to have walking around in our society. It is not. It is not. These are dangerous. They are not toys. And these guys come up with these, do anything but limit gun proposals. And they're dancing around the periphery. Clearly we want safe schools. Clearly we want, we've had liaison officers in our high schools up north for years. In fact, just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago in Eau Claire, a liaison officer with the police department investigated a potential threat, and they, in fact, took a couple of kids out of Memorial High School in Eau Claire, the largest high school we have in Eau Claire. It's good to have safety folks and liaison officers. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think it's a good thing, but we sure as heck got to start getting to the heart of the problem. Get rid of these, limit these assault weapons. Get rid of them.
State Rep Dana Wachs, a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate, a friend of ours. Dana, next time you come to Milwaukee and you come on this fine show, come a little later, we'll have you stick around for a cold one, sir. Appreciate you coming. We are the Devil's Advocates.
Dana, if people want to get involved in your campaign, find out more information about you, how can they do that?
DanaWachs.com. Go to DanaWachs.com. And we're not shy about our issues. We have issues. We rolled out a seniors security plan. We've got our gun safety plan. Everything's right there. Take a look.
Take a look. Dana Wachs, a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. Hour 2 is next.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A-plus ranking as a governor.
Not going to work here anymore anyway.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
I'm Glendale Mayor Brian Kennedy, running for re-election in April. You can learn more about my campaign at kennedyforglendalemayor.com. I'm joined today by my friend Matt Flynn, former State Democratic Party Chair and candidate for governor. Matt, why are you running for governor?
We used to have honest government, clean water, and high wages in this state. Now under Walker, we have corrupt government, dirty water, and low wages. I'm going to change that.
You can vote for Brian Kennedy for mayor on April 3rd in Glendale and Matt Flynn for governor in the Democratic primary on August 14th. Paid for by Kennedy for Glendale.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Playing the trade card, the first pitch. I'm Michael Toscano. President Trump on a road trip this afternoon to Richfield, Ohio, near Cleveland, trying to generate pressure on Congress to come up with money for infrastructure projects. The president also touting the new trade deal with South Korea.
So we've redone it, and that's going to level the playing field on steel and cars and trucks coming into this country.
But Mr. Trump said he may delay implementing the deal with South Korea until North Korea agrees to give up its nuclear weapons.
Do you know why? Because it's a very strong card.
Senior U.S. officials are said to be concerned South Korea may be the weak link in the alliance the U.S. has with South Korea and Japan and could be too quick to seal a deal with the North. In Sacramento, the funeral today for Stefan Clark. Mourning the 22-year-old shot and killed by police while he was unarmed. There have been days of protests, and correspondent Dan Simon is expecting more.
No question there will be some form of protest tonight, but where the protesters go and what type of disruption they might attempt to do, we still don't know.
Well, it hasn't happened since 1986, but it happened today. The first pitch of the brand new season for Major League Baseball, a home run.
The first batter of the Major League season was the Chicago Cubs' Ian Happ. Throwing the first pitch of the season, the Miami Marlins' Jose Urena. But that first pitch of the season never made it to his catcher's glove.
Urena to Happ, and a drive to right.
Go, baby!
What were you saying, JD?
Yes, sir!
Good! Oh, baby!
Oh, my! That's unbelievable.
That call courtesy of WGN. I'm John Stolnis.
Lots of folks spilling their Cracker Jacks there. Maybe on Wall Street, too, where rebounding tech stocks led to big gains across the boards. The Dow jumped 309 points. The S&P 500 gained 37. The Nasdaq closed up 114. Despite today's rally, both the Dow and the S&P had a streak of 9 straight winning quarters snapped today, the last trading day of the month and the quarter, with markets closed tomorrow for Good Friday. I'm Michael Toscano.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in 92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 bills and some change already, brother.
Guns, butter, economics.
414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
First wrongful death lawsuit has been filed in connection with January's deadly mudslide in Montecito, California. Jim Roop reports the lawsuit claims the local power company is responsible.
Had the fire not occurred, certainly this mudslide wouldn't have occurred.
That's the bottom line, says Brian Panish, attorney for Carrie Baker Corey, who lost 2 daughters in the January 9th mudslide.
I'm still in shock. It's as if the girls will come walking in the door any day.
The lawsuit claims faulty power equipment owned by Southern California Edison and vegetation overgrowth caused the massive Thomas fire when 2 transformers somehow either exploded or ignited. The fire left the hillsides barren, which in turn came crashing into Montecito during the heavy rains in January. Southern California Edison says the cause of the fire has not yet been determined, and it's not commenting at this time. I'm Jim Roop.
China's space station is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere the next couple of days. There's concern that some debris could make landfall. The governor of Michigan has activated the Emergency Operations Center. I'm Michael Toscano.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Governor Walker has given up on his attempts to hold off special elections and has now called for 2 special elections for state lawmaker seats that have been open since December. Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says Republicans are giving up on a bill they have been trying to rush through the State House that would have eliminated the requirement for the governor to call for special elections. And the 2 candidates for Wisconsin's Supreme Court will face off in a debate tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. That debate will be broadcast live on Wisconsin Public Television and Wisconsin Public Radio. Mostly sunny this afternoon and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the upper 20s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. Saturday, rainy and windy with highs again in the mid-40s. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, it's going to get better and better and better and better. We want to thank our most recent guest, the man with the piercing blue eyes, State Rep Dana Wachs. He is a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. He's a friend of ours, been coming on this show for a number of years, and I had not noticed. Striking, the blue eyes.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a blue Oxford. The eyes, they were set off.
They pop out then.
My wife has that same thing when she wears green. The eyes, they just boom.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't have that. There is no color.
Red. Your eyes are red.
It accentuates the red of my eyes and the dilation of my pupils. So, Dana Wachs, thank you for coming down. Dom, part of the conversation with Dana, special elections. My birthday, June 12th, and we need to turn a couple of different districts blue. The 42nd Assembly District, Dom, we can't tell you her name yet, but we're going to help launch a campaign for the next 42nd Assembly person. We're going to call her Jane Doe for now, but if you tune in the happy hour, we'll introduce you. Can't tell you yet. It's embargoed till 5:05. They're making the announcement right here. Nice. I think that'll actually technically be the first time that's happened.
If it's embargoed and we follow the embargo, does that make us journalists?
Well, so far I haven't spit it out. The name's right there, but I'm not saying it yet. But we do know, because the announcement was made earlier today, we're also in the 4 o'clock hour, not so long from now, going to have a fine new candidate. His name, Caleb Frostman. He is running for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. And Caleb's got a good job right now, man. Executive Director, Door County Economic Development Corp. I like that resume.
I love Door County.
Take that, you business-loving Republicans. Caleb will be on the show at 4:33 today. But back to the wanker bashing, man. Guy didn't get enough spankings yesterday. Seemed like droopy dog a little bit at the Insight Conference last night, the righty-whitey talk radio conference at a hotel somewhere in town. I was not there. Our friend Dean, Reverend Dean, was in the room.
Reverend Dean was there?
He was live messaging me.
I'm happy.
He was not happy. Reverend Dean, you can give us a call as well, 844-967-2789.
You know what Reverend Dean told me?
What's that?
And Reverend Dean said, hey, I scored a ticket. I said, you got to ask me this question. The question at the time, earlier this week, Reverend Dean told me he's going to the Scotty Walker event. And I said, you got to ask him, why are you afraid to hold special elections? And Reverend Dean messaged me back during the event. From the event last night, he said, they will be taking no questions.
No questions. I mean, and this is, and when I came across this sound today, because of course what I wanted to pull was cut number 6. This was the most important one. Brian, can we just play that one again? When you get it, let me know when you're ready. All right, let's play cut number 6. This was what I was looking for all day today. Cut 6.
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to call a special election. It'll be for June 12th for a special election to fill a vacancy in the State Assembly and the State Senate. We went through the legal process going forward,
What does that
and
mean?
it is amazing as to how far out-of-state liberals will go to push a meaningless process that's a waste of the taxpayers' money.
Went through the legal process going forward. Whenever he says, going forward and mumbles and pulls things out of his ass.
One of their
One of those things out there going forward.
winning.
It's just, of course, that's just a crock. But to hear the governor himself say that elections are meaningless, that this is a waste of money. It's like when he got caught talking to the fake Koch brothers and said he actually considered putting troublemakers in the protest crowds. I mean, these are stunning things to hear, and he said
tells.
He said it in front of a room of right-wingers.
Dominic, 844-967-2789, the political party line. Call or text. Now, we got a text. Tom Adler, our friend out in L.A. Tom's a former Badger, an ex-Badger Pat, if you will. He's a friend of ours. We've actually partied with Tom. My daughter at the salon, Tom and his husband both come out there. He runs the Gay and Lesbian Yellow Pages in Los Angeles. We're in that fine book, Devil's Advocates. We got fans out there, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom especially. But Tom texted in on the text line and said, Dana's good and nice, but too nice.
We need someone like Trump that says the roads are horrible. Someone that goes on strict offense. I want a candidate to go on the offense like Avenatti, Stormy's attorney.
Yeah! That has been my biggest contention. What is uniformly, what you can say about every one of the Dem gubernatorial candidates?
They're nice?
Yeah, possibly Soglin accepted. Yes, they're all nice people. Maybe if they brought Mayor Grumpy Pants around, I wouldn't say such mean things about him.
It's a catch-22, man. You can't call him Mayor Grumpy Pants and expect him to come around.
Well, I don't care if he does or not. This is my radio station. You want on it? Come on down, Mayor Grumpy Pants.
But here's what I noted about Scott Walker, and while I was going through the arduous task of listening to the words coming out of his mouth today preparing for the show, and when's the last time you've seen him out and about in any length of time in public?
Well, he was at that WMC event not so long ago, Dom. Yeah, he doesn't like to go out in enemy territory, where people might ask him questions.
Like, what the hell? Why is an election a meaningless effort and a waste of money?
But
and
Scott
if you'd
Walker
have followed through on your duty when you knew that these seats were being vacated, we would have had these elections coming up next week.
The most problematic part about Scott Walker winning re-election, not once but twice, and running for a third time, including the recall, is that he never says anything, Dom, even when asked a direct question. It's one of those where he never answers the freaking question. It's word salad. It's platitudes, pandering, and sloganeering. There is no there, and yet somehow the conservatives go, yeah, that's great. He's my guy. I stand with him. Now, if you truly stand with the conservative principles he espouses, then ask him why he doesn't keep his promises. Like, oh yeah, running the budget on a generally accepted accounting principles. That was one of his big campaign promises, right?
It was.
Well, that's a basic business precept. You know that, I know that, right? We're a couple of dumb liberals. And we know that you're supposed to count your future debts, your future liabilities into your expense structure. But the governor never bothers to do that.
Well,
we got a surplus. I got $1 in our account.
Well, then that way he can say he's had a surplus every year that he's been governor.
Oh, and the rainy day fund's 168 million thousand kabillion times bigger than it was. Yeah, but it's still 4 days. It's still completely insufficient. We are in the quote-unquote good times. Now, don't tell that to every Wisconsin family, because as Dana Wachs pointed out, many Wisconsin families' household median income in the state of Wisconsin off dramatically. I mean, significantly. If you go back to 1997, the average household income was greater in Wisconsin than it is now, not by a little bit, but by a lot.
Like adjusted for inflation.
Yes.
Wow. That's
it was like
$68,000
median household, 67, somewhere in that.
And it's down like
97.
$7,000.
Now we're in the 50s. We're at like 58, 57, 56. People don't feel this whatever he claims that Wisconsin's doing so great. I mean, you know why the unemployment rate's so low? Because when you set a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, and when you, the governor, have the exclusive ability to change that outcome, and instead you go after people, unions through right to work, you will go after the public sector unions. Everything Scott Walker has done has undermined the working stiff in the state of Wisconsin. And we see the results. 7 years in, people don't get raises. They get another job, maybe 2 or 3 jobs, and I'm excited to see that name. Let's get right to him. Reverend Dean coming back from Gubernator Walker's Insight Conference. How was the big show last night, Reverend Dean?
Reverend Dean, you're up. There you go.
Yeah.
Buddy, I've been name-dropping you all show. Your ears must have been ringing.
I've been listening. And even though this is my busy season, I felt, there's some things that are just as important. So here we are. Yeah, it was.
What, do all the sinners come out before Easter, Reverend Dean? Lots of confessional today?
Lots of confessions, lots of forgiveness going on this week. So keeping me busy.
Did Scott Walker come see you for all the lies he's been telling the state of Wisconsin, Reverend Dean? Did he beg your forgiveness and God's?
My organist is the one who got me this ticket, and she's a confused person because she loves Evers and she loves, but anyway, the point being, when Walker spoke, I've got one of these watches that measures the vital, kept ringing out going, your heart rate has exceeded acceptability. And I'm like, oh, because I had to be quiet. They thanked me for being very good, and they all knew I was progressive. But what I would say the biggest thing coming out of this is every one of the candidates, including Walker, tied themselves to Trump. They all, Nicholson and Vic Booker, who's our
Bookmer. Nurse, I prefer Nurse Ratchet, if you will.
She came across as that. She only had a video that they played, and fortunately it's not going to be seen by many people because she had the kind of the Kennedy Nixon moment where on appearance everybody was talking about how she appeared, and it wasn't flattering. And so, yeah, that's a shame. But even Nicholson, that guy, he's all in for Trump. He's like, yep, no, I think Trump just hasn't been given the chance to do what he needs to do, and I will be there to make sure he does.
Reverend Dean, is it possible Vukmer wasn't there because she didn't want people to see her riding up on the broomstick?
Hey, Reverend Dean.
From the...
Let me ask you, as being in the crowd, how did the crowd react when he started talking about these special elections being a waste of time? Was there a lot of nodding going on? Were they ambivalent? What was your perception of the crowd's reaction?
Any murmuring going on?
No, not on the contrary. Now, again, I was surprised at how few people. Like, there was less than 100 people there, and but they are the most devout. Like, a table behind me was like, Walker for governor for life. They were crazy. Like, they 100% support, but again, you've got a very small, token group. Right. There were many empty tables, by the way, right? They obviously planned for a lot more.
Really? When the Devil's Advocates, when WRD 1510 AM had our first anniversary party right here on Brady Street at a smaller venue, the Roman Coin, packed jam with partiers, man. There were no empty seats, were there, Dean?
No, I got there like an hour and a half before just to make sure I got a seat. And so, yeah, it was packed. Absolutely packed. But it wasn't last night, let me tell you that much. There was probably 2 rows of empty tables that, they obviously set up for, but never mounted to anything.
And, Reverend Dean, no questions permitted last night. I think you messaged me.
Yeah. Because I had read all the stuff that you guys had brought out. I was ready and prepared for battle. I was like, let me go up there and go, okay, so, what about December? What about this? What about that? And the price, you paid for giving all breeders $100, all that stuff. But Nope, no microphone set up, no nothing.
Well, if you want input, you got to call the Devil's Advocates. 844-967-2789. Unlike on Righty Whitey Radio, your input's welcome here.
We're like the stupid people.
No, I'm going to stay for a while. How about that? Freedom.
Are you with me?
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. What about simply raising the age of weapons purchases to 21 years of age?
We're sending 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds over to Afghanistan, and they're dying. They ought to be able to vote. They ought to be able to have a beer, and they ought to be able to buy a gun to hunt with as well.
Are you suggesting we lower the drinking age?
No. Can't they do that now? What is the age nowadays?
It's 21, sir.
We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
Yikes.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also on the socials, YouTube, Facebook, streaming there as well. Twitter at Devil Radio and the party line. Text or call 844-967-2789.
Dominic, on tomorrow's big show, we're going to have Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign.
Nice. Batman
at 4 o'clock. I would point out, now a fine sponsor of the Devil's Advocates right here on WRD and the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network. They are the watchdogs. And I got to tell you, I don't want to speak out of school, but the first thing I heard, when special elections hit the map last night, I called the Democratic Party of Wisconsin and I said, when are we getting some candidates?
Who's running?
Well, they already had candidates. To their credit, I got a call back last night. They said, we cannot wait to introduce you to Caleb Frostman. He is running for the 1st Senate District. We'll introduce all of you to Caleb soon. Caleb coming at 4:30. And this fine candidate that we can't tell her name, but we will help her launch her candidacy at 5:06. Call her Jane Doe Democrat at this point, Dom. But here's the part that bothered me a little bit. They were bemoaning the fact they got to raise a lot of money in a very short period of time. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin plans to be all in on these special elections. And I said, don't look at it like that. Look at it like an opportunity, because when this blue wave continues, that's going to pay dividends all the way till the fall.
Yeah, right. Nothing gets a crowd like success.
Yes.
844
My birthday, I need 2 new blue seats.
2789. Mark from Prairie du Sac, you are next. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got for us today?
Hey, guys. I see you hit and punch the 6,000 mark there.
Yeah, it was
this morning, and I just
better not have been somebody's 6 new avatars that they plan on taking away from me.
No, great show today, and a friend passed me on something. I just forwarded the link to you, but I don't expect you to really address it now. But apparently, WEDIC was recognized for excellence in financial reporting. And she was questioning me how this could possibly happen. And I'm a retired state accountant, and I couldn't really give her an answer. I mean, maybe they accurately reported that they're inaccurate in how they do things.
Paul, literally, they were not counting the jobs either created or this new metric they made up impacted. They didn't count the jobs that they awarded. And, of course, a lot of the early loans, quote unquote, they never even bothered underwriting, Paul.
Underwriting? What's that?
Yeah, I just am befuddled. I forwarded you guys the link so you can check it out. But I was just completely befuddled when she asked me that question. I mean, there's not much that that's the kind of thing that's this thing just completely escapes my credulity.
Yeah, well, I can tell you they're still looking for the loan file on Minahan, BCI,
right.
$500,000 unsecured. Scott Walker's maxed out campaign donor got to pay off his Maserati. I hear Mike Hipsch is looking out in the garage every weekend for that loan file.
Looking for the file
that he threw in the shredder. Where's the FBI? Why have there not been indictments? Come back with us. Someone's getting indicted. No, someone is announcing their candidacy. He's Caleb Frostman. He's running in Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. We'll introduce you next.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
The bridge is out, and there are scat holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Crazy E-Bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need, but Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes has some real sense. 2017 top-of-the-line, cold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Hi, Wisconsin. This is Mark Kelly, husband of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Gabby and I want to strongly urge you to vote for Judge Rebecca Dallett this Tuesday, April 3rd, in the election for Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Our family has experienced gun violence firsthand, and what we need on the bench are judges like Rebecca Dallett who understand that pain, who will enforce the law, and who won't be swayed by special interests. The NRA has endorsed Judge Dallett's opponent in hopes that he will be a rubber stamp for the corporate gun lobby's agenda.
Captain Kelly, I'm honored to have your and Gabby's support. Friends, I'm running to return independence and balance to our state's highest court, and I hope to earn your support too.
Join Gabby and me in supporting Judge Rebecca Dallett for Wisconsin's Supreme Court on April 3rd. Dallett on the ballot this Tuesday.
Paid for by Dallett for Justice.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Wisconsin's spring election is Tuesday. On the ballot is a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court and a referendum question that would eliminate the state treasurer. Over 80,000 Wisconsin voters have been removed from the voter rolls in 2 recent purgings. Make sure you are registered to vote and make sure you know where your polling place is. To find out if you're registered and the location of your polling place, go to myvote.wi.gov. And the parking lots at Mitchell International Airport are near capacity. Officials are recommending that people flying out of Mitchell today get a ride to the airport if possible, instead of parking a vehicle there. Mostly sunny this afternoon, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the upper 20s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. Saturday, rainy and windy with highs again in the mid-40s. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, we're about to introduce a new guest, new to us. He is running for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District, a new candidate. Caleb Frostman's his name. He is currently the executive director of the Door County Economic Development Corp. Caleb, I like that resume. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate, sir. Welcome to the special elective race.
Awesome. It's been a day, guys. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. This is awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I was excited, sir. Early this morning, I wasn't at the Insights Conference. Walker apparently let the cat out of the bag to his Republican friends in Waukesha last night. But this morning, it became public. Special elections in the state of Wisconsin. 1st Senate District. Caleb, here's shouldn't have to be the first question, but do you, unlike your predecessor, live in the 1st Senate District of the state of Wisconsin?
Yes, I do. I am a proud resident here in Sturgeon Bay and living here and loving it. And Northeast Wisconsin native. And I've really grateful to call this place home. It's an awesome place, and looking forward to representing the 175,000 folks that also live here with me in Senate District 1.
Now, Senate District 1 runs from roughly the Green Bay area, but not inclusive of Green Bay, all the way up to Door County, all the way up the isthmus there. Is that roughly correct, Caleb?
That is correct. It includes all of Door and Kewaunee counties, and then you are correct, the kind of eastern, southern suburbs of Green Bay, and then a portion of Calumet County and a few others as well. So strangely drawn line, but looking forward to listening to and working with and representing folks from the entire district.
Well, Caleb, that's a unique part of the state. Obviously, a little bit rural in nature, but a lot of tourism going on there. A lot of people come up to that part of the state, at least during the summer months, and certainly when the cherries are blossoming. But let me ask you, Caleb, what do you think of the demographics of that Senate district, and how do you represent what is partly a metro of Green Bay exurbs and partly the Door County area, sir?
You're spot on. It's a pretty diverse district in terms of, you've got everything from your exurbs of Green Bay, and you've got, rural farmers in southern Door and Kewaunee County. You've got a strong tourism presence up in northern Door County. So really kind of covers the gamut, and it's, really been instrumental for me learning the ins and outs of at least the Door County piece. It's kind of got it all. And I don't know if you guys know much about, this area, but including the entire district, have a really strong manufacturing base, some great employers here doing some really good things. So, it's a special district, and it's nice to have the diversity of industry. We do have a booming summer economy in a lot of District 1, first and foremost probably Door County, but Kewaunee County gets a lot of visitors as well. So it's a nice boost, and then it's great to have that base of manufacturing and agriculture that make up a lot of the jobs and economic prosperity of this region.
Caleb, your current role, Executive Director, Door County Economic Development Corp. We know that the governor of the state of Wisconsin has not been great on startups. This state trails the entire nation in startups, sir. When you talk about economic development, is that primarily targeted towards startups, small business? What does your current job entail, sir?
Our mission statement here is to improve the economic vitality of the county and its residents. And in a slightly different nutshell, we try to help new businesses get started and existing businesses grow. And we do a lot of workforce development training, and we've got a really strong focus on specifically kind of the youth workforce development. We've got a really strong academic career planning platform here at the organization that does a really good job of connecting our high school students with their businesses, fostering that relationship, making sure it's made early, and that students in the region are made aware of career opportunities here, and that we'd love to keep them, and that they'd certainly be well served to travel and to find new places, but that they don't have to. That Northeast Wisconsin is home to some great employers, and so it's an interesting mix. We do a couple of different lending platforms. We have our own incubator where we try to incubate new businesses through some shared services, below market rents, and really try to get folks on their feet so they can hopefully graduate the center. And to date, since we've had this building for about 20 years, we've had 21 graduates from the center with 84 full-time jobs. So it's a really diverse job. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, this was a decision I did not make lightly or make hastily. It's been a really fulfilling gig, but looking forward to running for the residents of the first district and hearing from them as to what they want and need down in Madison.
Well, let me ask you, sir, we know the governor has invested, a generation's worth of future tax dollars in a Foxconn deal. First and foremost, Caleb, does anyone in your neck of the woods think that there will be benefit to your neck of the woods? And is there anything alternatively you would rather see the state of Wisconsin invest our tax resources in that might actually benefit people in Door County or the exurbs of Green Bay, perhaps?
Yeah, great question. And we are working diligently to try to connect folks through the supply chain set up through a regional economic development organization, the New North. It's a lot of the manufacturers along the lakeshore. It's amazing that they have a pretty tight network of supply chain resources existing. And then going a little bit further past Milwaukee, there are folks that are looking to connect with that. And, the investment question you asked is perfect, because that's a big piece of our platform in terms of, making smarter investments, making investments that are going to pay dividends. And I'm far from a Rhodes Scholar. I'm no Warren Buffett, but I certainly understand the idea of investing in things that will have growth potential and pay dividends. Things like our roads are crumbling. We can't just be an ideologue and say we're not going to pay for roads because we don't want to raise taxes. Well, I don't really want to drive my car on a gravel road or a horse and buggy, so things need to be invested there. We've, I think it's be really wise for us to invest in recruiting the best and brightest teachers for our students at all levels. And other tax resources, in terms of investments, I look at, the folks that are saddled with student debt, folks that are trying to come out of pocket. I got a good friend of mine and his wife, went through the exchange, and they looked at a $46,000 per year bill for their health care, which is just mind-blowing. And then a big focus of what we're doing here, and what Governor Walker's talking about with our low unemployment rate, trying to recruit new workers into the workforce. Another huge impediment for people up here, I think across Wisconsin, is childcare. If you want to put 2 kids in childcare and be a full-time worker and contribute to the workforce and to the tax base, you're looking at, essentially a mortgage payment per kid per month. And that's a serious impediment to economic growth in Wisconsin. I think, those 3 things with a couple others are wiser investments that are, true growth opportunities and will pay dividends for a long time. So those are things we're talking about and things we're going to propose for and fight hard for in Madison.
You are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. We are speaking with Caleb Frostman. He's a candidate for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District and currently the Door County Economic Development Corporation Executive Director. Caleb, I want to ask you a little bit here about representation. Your area has been without a state senator since the end of 2017, but that doesn't mean that the state Senate has not been active. Most recently, they passed a $100 million bill for protecting schools. Didn't include any sort of gun safety regulation in there. But if you had an opinion or a comment or a thought or a question regarding that bill, who would you have called to get an answer?
I would have definitely called school administrators. I have great relationships with the folks here in the county, and it's interesting. I would have called those folks and asked, what is it that you really need? All partisan hype and headlines aside, what is going to make your school safer? And it's obviously a hot button issue these days. And I'm a proud hunter and have been since I've been 12 years old. And so I've got plenty of sporting weapons to head out and chase my favorite games. So it's definitely a hot button piece. But the schools are the ones that know what they need, and that's who I would have contacted. And would have loved to have Senate District 1 representation, right after Senator Lassay resigned at the end of 2017. But here we are, and we're excited and grateful for the opportunity to represent these folks starting this summer.
But you didn't have representation, Caleb, and I guess that's my point. And as recently as last night, the governor called the race that you are in, sir, a meaningless, a waste of money, apparently thinking that you do not need that representation. What would you say if you win this? What would you say if you have the opportunity to speak to the governor about his efforts? And, of course, even Senator Fitzgerald piped in on this as well. What's your comment to them about this?
I'm not Warren Buffett nor my historical scholar, but I believe that this country was founded upon a fight against taxation without representation, and the folks of the 1st District deserve their voices to be heard on matters of all sorts that were discussed as part of the Senate session this spring, and that I find it hard to believe that this is a waste of money when this seat potentially could have gone unfilled for more than a calendar year. That's unacceptable, and like I said, we're grateful to have the opportunity. I think it's the right call. Unfortunately, it's a little later in the year than most folks would like, but we're going to plow ahead full steam.
Caleb, I got one more for you. I like to ask all the politicians the first time I get a chance to speak with them. Here in the state of Wisconsin, as you run in the 1st Senate District, I want to know what your position is on the legalization, regulation, and taxation of recreational cannabis.
That's a great question.
Thank you. And I'm glad I asked it.
Good. Yeah. It's good. I think there are a lot of opportunities. You look at Colorado, you look at the things they've been able to invest with the tax monies from recreational marijuana, you look at the job opportunities, that can become from the cultivation. And, as we look at, leaving money on the table in other areas, that could be a really strong place to invest in our students, in our healthcare system, in our roads. It's something definitely worth strong consideration, and that's my thoughts on it.
Come on, man! All you got to do is say legalize it.
Well, and yeah, no, absolutely.
Caleb, that's okay, man. We'll move you to our position at some point, sir. Let me ask you: prior elective results in the 1st Senate District, Caleb, what did Frank Lasay's last outcome look like? I mean, this has historically, or at least recently, been a Republican district.
It has. Last I checked, it's been held by a Republican for, since 1977.
Wow.
So, I wouldn't have. Yeah, it's a long time. That was 7 years before I was born. So that should say something. But we wouldn't have thrown. I wouldn't have thrown my name in the ring and put these resources forward and put myself out there if I didn't think we had a strong chance to win the seat. And the momentum is there. I think our platform speaks to regular Wisconsinites, regular folks in the Senate District 1. And like I said, I am supremely confident and excited and energetic to get out there and listen to folks in the 1st District and learn even more what they want to see in Madison.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates. We've got Caleb Frostman. He is a newly declared candidate for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District, a Democrat. He currently holds the position of Executive Director, Door County Economic Development Corp. Well, if I heard you correctly, Caleb, you self-describe as a Packer fan. I don't think that's going to lose you any elections in the 1st District. But you mentioned being a hunter, sir, and obviously with these mass shootings, perhaps led by the kids in Parkland, Florida, we've had lots of gun control debate. Now, I know Green Bay, Wisconsin has the highest household gun ownership in the state of Wisconsin. It's going to be a fine line for a candidate from this part of the state to both satisfy people that want more safety regulations and, of course, satisfy those that are amongst the hunters and sportsmen that don't want to feel like they, as lawful, law-abiding citizens, don't want their guns taken away. Where do you stand on this issue, Caleb? Could you envision more gun safety, things like banning assault weapons or high-capacity magazines? Where are you going to stand on this issue as a sportsman, sir?
Great question. And so my identity is, first and foremost, as a hunter, it's how I count the calendars of my life. I think back to what deer did I shoot, what year, and what class was I in, and what my friends doing. And so my most prized material possessions are my Remington 870 12-gauge shotgun, which is 14 years old, but it looks like it's 34 years old based on the use it's had, and then my deer rifle, which is a 270. And it's interesting. I had a pretty unique experience growing up. I got my first bow and arrow when I was 6, and my first BB gun when I was 8. Took hunter safety when I was 11. So I'm really intimately familiar with, all sporting arms, and there's absolutely, no need to separate, being a hunter, being a sportsman, and asking for common sense gun regulation like universal background checks, like high capacity magazines, and banning bump stocks, things that are just universally supported in the 80 percentile ranges. As a sportsman, I absolutely think that if you're going to, have the only reason someone would, a 30-shot capacity magazine, if you're going to go to the range and, let's just say that law changes to 15 or 10, the only thing that we're asking folks to inconvenience themselves with is to reload 1 or 2 times while punching paper at a range. So I feel really strongly that that's a common sense solution. We have incredible regulations for, multiple hours behind the wheel of a vehicle, a written test. In order to be a hunter, you have to pass hunter safety, which when I took it, I think was 8 weeks at 2 hours apiece, plus a written test. So these things are not, it's unbelievable that, to drive a vehicle or to go out and be a sportsman, you have to pass these regulations, but they don't have the same kind of requirements for gun ownership. So it's kind of mind-blowing. And, as a proud gun owner who you will, remove that 870 from my cold, dead hands, or unless it breaks, but there's no reason to separate the two.
Okay, Caleb. So we know about you professionally. We know about your passions and your pastime, but tell me a little bit about your personal life. You a married guy, you got kids, nieces, nephews, dogs. Who are the people around you, sir?
Yeah, so no kids. It's just me and my bear rug, and that's I've got a lot of my family is mom actually just moved out to Portland, Oregon last year. She's a lifelong Wisconsin resident and probably my biggest influence. She started in social work and then has been a nonprofit executive since that time. So she's out in Portland. My sister's down in Green Bay. She is a huge rock of support for me. And then my dad's family, for the most part, is in Stevens Point and then Northwest Wisconsin. So, Dad and brother are in Point, and then my dad's 3 brothers are up in Bayfield County. So all Wisconsin, with the exception of my mother, that just I moved back to be close to family, and they she took off. So that's okay. We have a great relationship and talk multiple times per week. So that's my network of family here in town, and got a great network of friends. I'm really fortunate to have folks that make my life easy by making sure that we keep in close contact and that they've supported me in everything, political and otherwise. And so I feel really blessed to have the folks around me that I do.
Caleb, give them the website quickly, sir.
Sure. CalebFrostman.com. Facebook is Caleb Frostman for State Senate. So get out there and like our page, share our page. If you feel compelled, if you so choose, we'd love to get a donation as well.
Get involved. Caleb Frostman, a brand new candidate, Wisconsin's 1st senatorial district. He's a Dem. We're the Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
They can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey, Batman here. Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Hoping you'll support us as we track all that dark money that's splattering your screens with mud. You can count on us to tell you who really runs Wisconsin, and it's not Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss. They're just the water boys for the Koch brothers, WMC, the NRA, and Diane Hendricks. You can find all this out at our website at wisdc.org, and while you're there, please send us a donation so we can keep after these bad guys.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Phone lines are open, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank our most recent guest, the first appearance ever for a new senatorial candidate. His name, Caleb Frostman. He is currently the executive director, Door County Economic Development Corp. I like that title. I mean, economic development, something Scott Walker, the current governor, knows nothing about. And most of Frank Lassay's economic development seemingly was for the benefit of Frank Lassay. I mean, he was a carpetbagger, was he not?
Yes.
Lassay had like a rental. He rented out on the Airbnb on the weekends and called it his district home.
Let's get to some callers. We got a couple of minutes here. Wisco Paul, you are up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got today?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, you guys. Hey, how you doing? You guys rock together, by the way. You're kicking butt today. Hey,
Thanks, man.
The guy Caleb. Yeah, you bet. Hey, the guy Caleb, I think his name was. He just had on would be a better governor than Scott Hole, for God's sake. He's got too much common sense. He sounds really good to me.
Paul, let him win a special election for the first Senate district. Then we'll talk about promoting the man. Caleb Frostman, his name. Find him on the interwebs. I believe his website is Caleb Frostman.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
I guess that's all you get today, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of you as well. 844-967-2789.
Devil's Advocates Radio, kicking butt every day. We will take more calls, but Dom, top of the five, the
Super
happy hour
guest
Jane Doe Dem is going to make her presence known. She's going to announce her candidacy, Wisconsin's 42nd Assembly District. Dom, these are the days I live for. And of course, special election. Scott Walker, Troopy Dog, finally got around to doing the right thing with no other viable option presented. Special election on Crudy's birthday, June 12th. Can't wait for the celebration party, perhaps. 2 Dem pickups. We'll introduce you. We're calling her Jane Doe Dem, but we'll tell you her real name when we come back. More Devil's Advocates.
You know what? I'm happy.
Wanker! Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern. You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Death stirs nation, infrastructure push. I'm Barbara Cusack. Funeral services were held today for the 22-year-old unarmed black man, Stephon Clark, who was fatally shot by police in Sacramento. The Reverend Al Sharpton scoffed at the White House for dismissing the killing as a local matter.
It's time for preachers to come out the pulpit. It's time for politicians to come out the office. It's time for us to go down and stop this madness.
Sharpton says Clark's death woke up the nation and would force it to confront the issue of police conduct. During a stop in Ohio, President Trump talked about his plans about fixing the nation's infrastructure.
Anything we can dream, you can build. You will create the new highways, the new dams and skyscrapers that will become lasting monuments to American strength and continued greatness.
Trump said the $200 billion federal infrastructure initiative he's pushing probably will be delayed until after the November midterm elections. Russia is expelling 60 U.S. diplomats and closing the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg in retaliation for a similar move by Washington. In Moscow, correspondent Phil Black.
The Russian view is that this is the bare minimum response. It's a reasonable response to what you have done to us unjustly, but they've included a warning, and that is that if other countries, notably the United States, do take further action against Russia, then Russia will respond further as well.
Russia has been on the defensive since the UK government openly blamed Moscow for the poisoning of a former Russia double agent and his daughter. A Los Angeles judge ruled that California law requires coffee companies to carry a cancer warning label. In a proposed decision, the judge said Starbucks and other coffee companies failed to show the threat from a chemical compound produced in the coffee roasting process was insignificant. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Crazy e-bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need. But Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has some real sense. 2017, top-of-the-line, gold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the Devils have sent you.
The Devil's Advocates.
We've got U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. Ron, in all seriousness, if this was Barack Obama, you'd be screaming, "Stormy, stormy, stormy," from the rooftops.
You're too young to understand this excuse. This would be the Sergeant Schultz answer, "I know nothing."
But as the chair of the HISCAC, sir, Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee, you could get to the bottom of this, could you not, Ron?
I see nothing. I know nothing.
Making radio great again.
A federal judge in California rejected a request by Stormy Daniels' lawyer to depose President Trump on the hush agreement she signed before the 2016 election. Attorney Michael Avenatti says this is a procedural issue and he plans to refile soon.
Our goal is to get straight answers, simple, straight answers, as to some very finite questions that the American people deserve to have answers to.
Sarah Jessica Parker endorsed her Sex and the City castmate Cynthia Nixon's run for governor of New York on Instagram, calling her "my sister" on and off screen. Nixon is challenging incumbent Governor Andrew Cuomo for the Democratic nomination. New York Mets say former slugger Rusty Staub has died at the age of 73 following an illness. Staub was a six-time All-Star and the only player in Major League history to have at least 500 hits with 4 different teams. The orange-hair outfielder became a huge hit with fans in the U.S. and Canada during a career spanning 23 seasons.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies of the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. About 200 people welcomed a group of over 40 high school students from around the state as they arrived in Janesville yesterday after walking 50 miles over 4 days to promote gun reform. The students want Speaker Paul Ryan to bring gun control legislation to the House floor and challenged high school students across the nation to march 50 miles to the hometown of a congressman or politician. And in an effort to find young people to fill skilled trade positions, Harley-Davidson has launched a youth apprenticeship program with Milwaukee Public Schools and Bradley Tech. Mostly sunny this afternoon and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the upper 20s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. Saturday, rainy and windy with highs again in the mid-40s. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we're sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and I'm happy for 2 very good reasons.
What's that?
1, WTTN 1580 AM covers the entirety of the 42nd Assembly District in the great state of Wisconsin.
Sweet!
We cover it from stem to stern with strong, clear signal originating from Columbus, Wisconsin. And the second reason I'm very happy right now, Dom, we're going to introduce our fair audience all across southern Wisconsin to a Democrat. She is announcing her candidacy today for Wisconsin's 42nd Assembly District. Ironically, welcome to the show, Ann Groves Lloyd.
Hey, how are you guys?
Excellent. Thank you, Ann.
Ann, I've been dying to say your name. You've been John Doe Dem up until Jane Doe Dem up until now. And welcome to the special election candidacy. My understanding is you're running in the 42nd.
I am.
Now, Ann.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, Ann. I was going to say, and you made your intentions publicly known. You wrote a letter to all your neighbors, Ann.
I did, yes. We've been waiting to find out about this special election for quite some time. We haven't had any representation in the legislature for the past 4 or 5 months. It was about time, and once the special election got announced, I wanted to move really quickly and let my colleagues and friends in the 42nd know that I am throwing my hat in the ring and would be honored to represent them.
And you're a current resident of Lodi. You serve as an alder there?
Yes, that's correct.
And what's your professional background, and what do you do for your day job currently?
Well, I've been at the University of Wisconsin-Madison for just about 30 years now, 20 years working in the university itself. The first 10 years I was there, I was at the Wisconsin Alumni Association. So I have all three of my degrees, bachelor's, master's, and PhD from UW-Madison, and I've done everything from Director of Career Services to an Associate Dean for Student Academic Affairs, and currently I'm an academic advisor for incoming liberal arts students in the College of Letters and Science.
Well, I'm not sure if Scott Walker gets his way if there will be a College of Letters and Science.
Yeah, and don't get me started.
Well, and perhaps that's the impetus behind your candidacy, but I got to ask you, we hear about the brain drain. I got a 23-year-old. She's living out in California. Nothing for her here. You see lots of young people graduating from the UW in career services, or at least part of your career there. Are these young grads finding well-paying jobs, rewarding jobs in the state of Wisconsin, or is it lack of these sort of jobs that is forcing them out of state?
Yeah, it's definitely lack of jobs forcing them out of the state. A lot of them want to stay in the Madison area, and we know how low the unemployment rate is here. It's very difficult to find a job. If you're a recent grad and you want to move away from home as you graduate, that's the time to do it. These young alumni are really drawn to Chicago and Minneapolis in particular, as well as this is a generation that is very well traveled. They have a very global perspective, but they aren't finding the jobs. And it's, in some of the towns outside of cities across the state outside of Madison, for a single young person to move to that location, it can be kind of difficult to get involved in the community, feel a part of the community and connected to the residents. So there's a lot we could be doing to keep these young folks here.
And I've heard it said, when I talk about the brain drain, I've had people in the audience push back before, and they said, yeah, the young people move away, but when they get a little bit older, perhaps in their 30s, when it's time to start a family, they move back to Wisconsin, in part because of our values, in part because it's home. And you're from the Lodi area. What does Lodi offer for families moving? Would they want to live in Lodi under current governance?
I hope under our local governance, yes. I think we have a pretty progressive city council. We just passed a referendum and are building our new primary school. Excuse me. And we have a relatively new middle school and high school. So we've got great schools to offer. We're within commuting distance of Madison. We have a number of TID, tax incremental districts in Lodi. So we're trying to invest in attracting businesses to Lodi, revitalizing the downtown area. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for folks in the Lodi area in particular.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. We've got a fine candidate, her name Ann Groves Lloyd. She's announced her candidacy as a Democrat for the Wisconsin 42nd Assembly District. And Ann, you may have heard me mention Resistance Radio. That was my reaction to Donald Trump. Is your candidacy at all a reaction to Donald Trump? Scott Walker, what has brought you into the field?
All of the above, definitely. Especially, well, on a state level, my family's been here for a very long time. I remember growing up hearing that we were the state known for clean government. We weren't like our neighbors to the south. Clean, transparent government, pristine environment. We took care of our citizens, and I have seen so much of that erode over the last, in particular, 8 years. It's discouraging to see where we've come, and I think it will take quite a long time for us to get back to the ground that we've lost. But the sooner we get back on that track, the better for our citizens and the better for the state. I am so concerned about the legacy that we're leaving our children and our grandchildren and their children and grandchildren. The world isn't a big enough mess. The country isn't a big enough mess. I sure would like to do what I can to help make sure that our state is in beautiful shape to pass on to generations. My father passed away last August, and before he passed, he had put most of our family farm, 175 acres, into a conservation easement with the Ice Age Trail Alliance, ensuring that 175 acres are going to be accessible to the public. That Ice Age Trail is going to be there in perpetuity long after we're gone. And that legacy to my family means a tremendous amount, and our state's legacy also means a tremendous amount. And I'm honored to be able to have an opportunity to maybe follow in my grandfather and great-uncle's footsteps. They were both in the legislature in the 30s, elected on the progressive ticket. So I think politics runs in the Grove's blood, which is fun and exciting. So that's what drew me. Things have to change. We just cannot. We are in such a divisive world right now. People are unsettled. It's what's been having has torn families apart. This is not the way this country was founded. It certainly is not the way this state was founded, or the vision that we have, many of us have, for our state moving forward.
And sorry to hear about the passing of your father. Certainly,
thank you.
Legacy family is very important, and it seems like he'd be very proud of your efforts now. And I want to ask you, with your efforts and your work at the UW, you know, the Republicans and Scott Walker, very proud of the fact that they've kind of stuck it to the university. I heard Governor Walker repeat again last night how successful they have been in freezing tuition. What's been the impact that you've seen personally with the Republicans' efforts as it pertains to UW here in Wisconsin?
Wow, how much time do we have?
A couple of minutes.
Okay, it's devastating. It's devastating. We have a state system of education that rivals just about any other state in the country, and the budget cuts have decimated the university. I'll speak specifically about Madison for a minute. Watching faculty whom I've known for years, who were tops in their fields, leave the university for better offers elsewhere. We've become prime poaching territory. Their benefits, they're leaving us for much higher salaries and benefits elsewhere. Excuse me. We are saddling our students with so much debt. I'm proud to say, as a university staff member, we have done a lot to raise scholarship dollars for need-based scholarships. But we're pricing people out of education, the ones who manage to get through. So many of them have so much debt. It's horrifying. Education is the greatest tool in helping people move up on a socioeconomic ladder. And we are mortgaging our future by saddling these young people with this sort of debt. The entire UW system, you heard about the program cuts at Superior, the ones, the programs cut at Stevens Point recently announced. A liberal arts education in particular is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to produce people who look at the world through a whole lot of different lenses, can identify complexities, tease out sustainable solutions to the complex problems that we have to deal with today. We have been so focused on short-term fixes and immediate gratification, and that is not the way to move forward. And I weep to think of what could potentially happen to the university. I think we're at a tipping point now with our higher ed system, and we need to be reinvesting in it all across the state.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We are speaking with Ann Groves Lloyd. She's a candidate for Wisconsin's 42nd Assembly District, announcing today. Ann, got to ask you one of my favorite questions. What is your position on the legalization, regulation, and taxation of recreational cannabis?
Both for recreational and for medicinal use, I am a big proponent of the legalization of cannabis. I personally have fibromyalgia. I have read a lot about what relief can be found for illnesses like fibromyalgia using cannabis. I also have a dog with a seizure disorder, one of our dogs. And I know, when I was out in California just last month, I saw an ad for doggy treats for doggies with a seizure disorder. And, I couldn't get him, and I couldn't bring him back home for my pet who's on phenobarbital and potassium bromide and isn't really himself a lot of the day. We are denying so many of our citizens who could benefit tremendously from a medical standpoint with cannabis. We have thrown so many lives away being worried about somebody having some amount of pot on them. Our jails in Wisconsin are filled with people whose lives have been irreparably damaged because they happen to have some pot on them. So I am going to be a very strong advocate for the legalization, certainly for medical use, but I would support it for recreational use as well.
Ann Groves, Lloyd, you had Dom's endorsement when you said legalize, yes.
Awesome.
Hey, and if people want to get involved in your campaign, obviously this is a fledgling campaign just announced today.
Yes.
Give them a website, give them a Facebook page, give them what information you can so they can get involved.
Okay. Ann for Wisconsin.com, and that's Ann with no E. AnnForWisconsin.com is the website. We'll be putting more information up there, but they can get some information on there now. And then AnnForWisconsin@gmail.com is the web address. If folks have questions or would like to get involved, I'd sure love to hear from them. I'm very, very excited to reach out to the folks in the 42nd Assembly District and get the ball rolling.
Jane Doe Dem No More, Ann Groves Lloyd. She is a candidate for Wisconsin's 42nd Assembly District, covered entirely by 1580 AM WTTN, and easy for me to say. Thank you so much. Good luck with your candidacy. We'll talk more soon, I suspect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
I look forward to it. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Take care.
You too.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you very much for allowing us to be part of her campaign launch here today, Dom. I live for days like this. Come back with us. The happy hour. It's right now. 844-967-2789.
Your mama raised you better than that.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Driving means freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
ability,
friendship,
excitement,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police,
devastation,
injury,
tears, death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Phone lines open 844-967-2789.
Dominic, proud and happy to be a platform of introduction for two fine Democratic candidates. Caleb Frostman in the last hour. He's a candidate for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. Very capable young guy. Executive Director, Door County Economic Development Corp. I like that resume. I like what he had to say. And he seems quite persuadable on the marijuana issue, Dom.
Yes.
And then Ann Groves Lloyd, although let's call her what she is. Dr. Ann Groves Lloyd. I'd have been leading with my 3rd degree, my PhD.
3 more degrees than Walker.
Nah, 2 more than me. Very impressive candidate in her own right, Dr. Ann Groves Lloyd. A Lodi girl. She's running for the 42nd Assembly District. We cover all of that with 1580 WTTN AM. I'm so glad we made that addition just in the nick of time.
Let's get to some callers. Pete from Brookfield, you're up. You have 90 seconds. What do you got for us?
Well, basically, we found out that maybe Walker and Mr. Trump or President Trump are quite similar in a couple of things. One thing they're similar in is that Donald Trump likes to be spanked by porn stars, but it looks like our governor likes to be spanked by judges.
An excellent point you make, Pete. I suspect there might be some more spankings to come. Here's something I would point out. Now, Keith Ripp won that district by 17 points. That was a red district. They're both red districts, but that was old news. The new news, look at Wisconsin's 10th Senate District. That special election, that was what, a 26-point swing to the blue? That's what Scott Walker's afraid of. And those two capable candidates, that's a damn good start, Democrats. I'm excited. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. The happy hour continues with your calls at 844-967-2789.
Doctor. 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 And doctor. We're not doctors.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup.
Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. Did you know that Scott Walker spelled backwards is Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network? I know, I was amazed too.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. What about simply raising the age of weapons purchases to 21 years of age?
We're sending 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds over to Afghanistan, and they're dying. They ought to be able to vote. They ought to be able to have a beer, and they ought to be able to buy a gun to hunt with as well.
Are you suggesting we lower the drinking age?
No. Can't they do that now? What is the age nowadays?
It's 21, sir.
We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
Yikes.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Wisconsin's spring election is Tuesday. On the ballot is a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court and a referendum question that would eliminate the state treasurer. Over 80,000 Wisconsin voters have been removed from the voter rolls in 2 recent purgings. Make sure you are registered to vote and make sure you know where your polling place is. To find out if you're registered and the location of your polling place, go to myvote.wi.gov. And the parking lots at Mitchell International Airport are near capacity. Officials are recommending that people flying out of Mitchell today get a ride to the airport if possible, instead of parking a vehicle there. Mostly sunny this afternoon, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the upper 20s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. Saturday, rainy and windy with highs again in the mid-40s. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show in the midst of the happy hour. Scotty Wanker got his spanking again. Ran out of courts of appeal. Apparently didn't have the Republican votes necessary to change the democratic process in the state of Wisconsin.
But they sure tried.
And Droopy Dog resigned himself, relegated himself
to holding elections?
Special elections here in the state of Wisconsin. 2 fine candidates introduced on this fine show. Caleb Frostman, again, he is running for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. And Dr. Ann Groves Lloyd liked them both a lot. She running for the 42nd Assembly District, both as Dems. Uphill task. These were both red districts. But if you believe in the blue wave, in the blue tsunami, like I believe in a blue wave and a blue tsunami coming, and with the assistance of this multimedia platform,
forget about
1580 WTTN, man, we're going to kick some ass every day, Dom.
Hey, hell, we may even get some coins made.
We'll see.
844-967-2789. Let's get to some callers. Mary from Milwaukee. Thanks for calling, Mary. What do you got for us today?
Hi, just want to let you know on your favorite subject, there's going to be a 2-day docuseries it's called The Sacred Plant Healing Secrets Exposed on cannabis. And it's been a 7-day docuseries, and, it's come to an end, but they're going to repeat it within 2 days. It's going to be starting Sunday, the 31st, it's either 8 or 8:30 in the morning. Person would have to register, and then you can listen to all of the interviews and a lot of medicinal, benefits of this plant. I missed the docuseries, but I'm definitely going to catch up on it. And there are many, many interviews, so it really is going to be, 7 days worth of interviews caught up in 2 days. So it's going to be, it's going to be pretty great.
Well, Mary,
and,
quick
ahead.
note. Firstly, Dominickson, mostly for the recreational. Above and beyond that, you're talking about these docu-series. Where can people view these? How do they get involved? How do they go learn themselves up, Mary?
Mary, maybe you could share it to our Facebook page, and that way we can share it with everybody.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. But if they just Google The Sacred Plant, it'll call it up, and then they have to register, no charge. If a person wants to buy the docuseries, then it's a minimum of, I think it's $99 or something like that, and then the next package is maybe $150 or so. But you can view everything for no charge.
Mary, thank you so much for informing our audience. Although if I had $99 burning a hole in my pocket, I might call the weed man.
844-967-2789. If you're the weed man, you can call us.
We're kind of a big deal. Is Mary her real name, or do you think it's Mary Jane?
Mary Jane, right. Thank you, Mary. We appreciate it.
Dom, of course, Election Day in the state of Wisconsin next Tuesday.
Coming quick.
Dalit on the ballot.
Vote for Dalit. We've said we agree on this, right? Vote
we do.
For Rebecca.
We are both down for Rebecca Dalit. She just appeared on Earl's show earlier today, an hour in studio.
Nice.
Earl, good get. Where's Rebecca Dalit on our show for an hour today? We didn't try to book her for an hour today. We'll see if we can get her again before the election. But, Dom, there's lots of ads flying back and forth, and it's mostly the dark money sort of ads that are being run. And we've all seen the ad where Rebecca Dalit's characterized as soft on crime. Let some rapists go at, 2 years? Apparently he was offending against his granddaughters, and the man is identified in the ad, Dom, and I'm thinking to myself, when I've seen this ad...
Yeah, when it first came out.
I have no idea if this ad has any credibility and, the details of the case, and that's how it always goes in these judicial races. But above and beyond that, if they've identified the grandfather and the ages of the granddaughters, haven't they, perhaps not explicitly, but implicitly, haven't they identified these victims?
Bill Glauber, Jason Stein from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Family calls on top business group to take down TV ad in Wisconsin Supreme Court race.
That's WMC, right? They're the ones running these ads?
Yes, sir. The heated Supreme Court race took a startling turn when a Milwaukee family called on Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce to take down a television ad claiming it identified 2 child victims of attempted sexual assault. On Thursday, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office issued a statement condemning the ad, saying it re-victimized the family and used them for political gain. The ad by WMC Issues Mobilization Council targeted a decision by Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Rebecca Dalit. Dalit faces Sauk County Judge Michael Skrenak on Tuesday's election. Neither campaign was involved in the ad. See, Curdy? It wasn't Skrenak.
Why would they assume that?
You can coordinate now,
Coordinating
right?
is permissible under Wisconsin campaign finance law because Governor Scott Walker was breaking that law, and the current Wisconsin Supreme Court codified it by giving him a get-out-of-jail-free card. They changed effectively both Wisconsin and the U.S. Constitution to accommodate the current governor. Dom, coordination completely permissible under law. WMC coordinated historically with Scott Walker and prior judicial races. Why would we think there's any independence between Skrenak and this third-party spending?
The biggest fear that I think a lot of our supporters have is the outside money.
That's a hell of a question, Crudy. I think it's a big assumption to say that, but referring back to the reporting of Glauber and Stein, the ad focused on Dallet's 2011 sentencing of a man to 2 years in prison for an attempted sexual assault of an 8-year-old girl. The charge of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl was dismissed. The man could have received a 20-year maximum sentence, but Dallett went along with the prosecutor's recommendation.
They don't mention that the prosecutor recommended a 2-year sentence in the ad, do they, Don?
Oh, but you know what?
Soft on crime.
When I heard Skrenak defending his position of his sentencing of a sexual offender.
Because the Greater Wisconsin Fund, the dark money group of the left, they've been running ads calling Skrenak soft on crime, right?
In his interview on Righty Whitey Radio, well, he just said the same thing. I went along with the prosecutor and defense
prosecutor's recommendation. As often judges do when there's agreement between the parties. That's called a plea deal.
In an interview that aired Wednesday, a family member of the victims told WTMJ-TV they're putting our name out there without even realizing what kind of damage they're doing. The woman, whose identity was concealed, said she saw the ad Friday and contacted WMC Monday in a bid to have the spot taken off the air. WMC has stood by the ad. Here's a quote. Through its grassroots lobbying communications, I mean, are you kidding me? WMC Issues Mobilization Council is commenting on public issues that are being discussed in our state and participating in this public debate on criminal sentencing, the group said in a statement. To advance WMC IMC's point of view on this issue, this particular communication merely repeats publicly available information from public records and information that has already been reported on by several news organizations.
But not continuously on every cable news channel over and over and over and over again. Someone would have had to seek out this information, not when WMC plasters it all over your TV screen and re-victimizes this family.
Oh, it's a grassroots organization. The statement later continued, WMC IMC believes it is important for the public to be aware of Judge Dallett's repeated instances of giving light sentences to criminals who abuse children. Matthew Torbenson, Milwaukee County Deputy District Attorney, criticized the ad. In a statement, Torbenson said, a recent campaign ad that highlights a sexual assault case prosecuted in Milwaukee County disgracefully identifies the relationship of the offender to his victims, thereby re-victimizing the victims and family for political gain.
They couldn't have named the perpetrator without saying he victimized his granddaughters. Of course, it seems more heinous that Dallett would let some victimizer of his granddaughters off the hook, right?
Why else would you do it?
Yeah. Unnecessary to make the point they were trying to make, right?
But it's publicly available information. Their grassroots organization is just participating in the discussion.
Grassroots, my ass. What about Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce has anything to do with grass?
It says right here, through its grassroots lobbying communications. They wrote that, Crudy, in their memo here.
Well, if WMC wrote it, I mean, much like they wrote the recusal rules of the Wisconsin Supreme Court that failed to recuse when John Doe Walker, of course, was not charged, but being investigated for illegal campaign coordination with, let's call it, WMC.
Yeah. Torbenson, the Milwaukee County Deputy District Attorney, goes on. He said the family reached out to the DA's office to express their sorrow and disdain for the fact that this tactic was employed with no consideration for its effects on victims. The Wisconsin Constitution recognizes that victims of crime shall be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect for their privacy. Here, Crudy, this is interesting. In an interview, Skrenak declined to call on WMC to change or drop the ad.
Well, they're effective. They're working for me. Why would I ask them to change anything?
Saying he had only just learned of the controversy. He said some of the ads run by third-party groups supporting Dallett dealt with cases that also involved victims. Now these WMC ads in particular, they're not being run by our campaign and we don't have any control over them, Skrenak said. I believe that our electoral process works best when everyone who wants to be engaged is able to speak. This is the way that WMC has chosen to speak. Skrenak said he's run a positive campaign. As a judge, I take very seriously the concerns of victims, and I do all I can in my courtroom, but not in my campaign, to respect the rights of victims and to respect what they're going through and not make it worse. Well,
then why not call upon WMC to change or drop their ad?
Hell, he's coordinating with them anyway. Because, like you said, Curdy, it's perhaps effective.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Don't forget, vote April 3rd. Dial it on the ballot. Skrenak, Scrotum, whatever the hell that man's name is. If you don't have enough self-respect to protect the victims as a man who is a judge and wants to be a high court judge, then you do not deserve the votes of the Wisconsin electorate. That's just one man's opinion, but you should share it. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates right here on WTTN, WRRD 1580, 1510, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network. 844-967-2789. Your contributions welcome here.
Is a complete lack of respect for the law.
You'll get nothing and like it.
The biggest fear that I and I think a lot of our supporters have is the outside money.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Matt Rothschild here from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. I love being on Resistance Radio because I get to tell you who's throwing money around in the state capitol. It's disgusting. Wisconsin's not open for business. It's open for bribery. And Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss have turned the Capitol into an ATM for their corporate cronies. At the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, we blow the whistle on all of them. So please go to our website at wisdc.org, check out our latest stories, and send us a donation. We need a louder whistle.
promises made.
Have you paid into a pension plan or are currently paying into a pension? Join the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions Saturday, April 21st for an update from Washington, D.C. and the first Special Select Committee. The meeting is at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield, Wisconsin at 10 a.m. A promise is a promise is a promise. This is an issue that affects everyone. Active workers, retirees, spouses, and veterans are encouraged to attend Saturday, April 21st at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield at 10 a.m. Meetings are also taking place in Sheboygan, Endeavor, Wausau, and Green Bay. Go to the Wisconsin-Milwaukee Southeast Committee to Protect Pensions Facebook page to learn more. Join us Saturday, April 21st, 10 a.m., the American Legion Post in Brookfield. It's not their money, it's yours.
We were wrong. They stole our pensions.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, last segment of the day. So if you got something to say, give us a call right now, 844-967-2789.
Let's go to the phones. Next up is Pizza the Box. How you doing, Michael?
Man, I told you that ad was just like the Lewis Butler thing, didn't I? And it just, I hope it isn't effective on people anymore. It was a horrible ad. And then I listened to, he's kind of like that Jay Sekula, he's a lawyer for the president, the crackpot for the president. We got a crackpot for the governor. Wasn't he a lawyer in the Act 10 violation?
Skrenak?
Yeah.
I believe he also helped
as a judge.
I believe he also helped gerrymander Wisconsin's assembly districts.
Yeah, I think you got his name right. Scrotum.
Hey,
anyway,
but
I'm going
Mike,
to the...
go ahead. Finish your thought, please.
Well, I'm going to the governor's candidate here on 26th Street. I'm in the mill right now. It starts at 6, so I'm going to go in. And we're going to put some questions to... I know the people that are here listening, so the questions aren't going to be easy tonight. I think you're going to see some people start coming out of this as some of the main leaders.
You mean a candidate forum on 26th Street in Milwaukee tonight, Michael?
You bet, man. Looks like we're going to have a full house.
And what's the venue there, Mike?
It's like a little union hall. So, there's not a lot of space, but it doesn't matter. I'm not here to talk. I'm here to listen, and there's other people already have questions lined up. So,
Michael,
it should be interesting.
Did you hear the couple of Dem candidates that have announced respectively in the 1st Senate District? That's Caleb Frostman and Dr. Ann Groves Lloyd. She's running for Wisconsin's 47th Assembly District. What do you think of the two new Dems?
Pretty sure I've run into them at the Capitol sometime between 2011 and now. Mm-hmm. These are activists that are coming to the surface. I told you we're going to see a lot more of it. Some of it coming from places, like I said, you wouldn't expect.
Mike,
it's going to be fun.
Let me ask you, you mentioned these ads and how terrible and hopefully they're not effective. And I guess my thought is, whether they're effective or not, hopefully not impacting, too negatively on the actual victims of this crime. What do you think about the fact that Skrenak is totally okay with this being public knowledge of these young child sex victims over and over and over again, and yet has the audacity to say he's concerned about child victims?
Kind of reminds me of Nygren using his daughter and fighting drugs, right?
All right, man. Appreciate it, Mike. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, one more headline. This one captivating out of the state of Wisconsin.
Of course.
An election. We're talking lots about elections. Sauk County board write-in candidate alleges opponent is a practicing witch.
What?
Get back, witch! I'm not a witch, I'm your wife!
Are we clear this isn't a story about Kevin Nicholson and Leah Buchner?
I am not.
Laval, Wisconsin, alleging his opponent is an evil witch whose campaign is financed by liberal special interest. A local blogger has mounted a write-in campaign for Sauk County Board. Just how did Joseph Oler Jr. reach the conclusion that the candidate who will appear on Tuesday's ballots in his district is a practicing witch, as he alleges in a blog post? Here's a quote, Dom. That was a logical inference, says Oler, a 33-year-old former cheese packer who's currently unemployed and lives with his father, perhaps in the basement, Dom. Sort of like Growthy.
Grothman.
He said he could not find Patricia Rigo, the registered candidate in Sauk County's 4th supervisory district, listed as a member of any local churches. And he determined through online research that she previously, wait for it, Tom, this is the tell, she previously worked in Madison, which he describes as Wisconsin's socialist capital.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
Burn her!
By deduction, Oler said he therefore believes Rigo practices witchcraft with Circle Sanctuary, a neo-pagan church located west of Madison. Dom, that's your church, right? For the record, Rigo of Laval, a retired nurse, denies that she is a witch and says she's never heard of Circle Sanctuary. I don't know anything about the group. I've never worked in Madison. Not that that's a bad thing, right?
I didn't know that being a witch was bad.
I've lived in Madison most of my life. Does that make me a warlock or just a bleeding heart liberal?
Oh, my goodness. He has since authored a blog titled Stop Pat Rigo, in which he describes her as uninformed, out of touch, and patently evil. Patently evil, quote unquote. Without evidence, he alleges she is bankrolled by billionaire liberal philanthropist George Soros.
Aren't we all?
Nope.
I wish Soros would help me make payroll.
Right. Joseph Oler Jr. This is just amazing.
He's a handsome guy. What's that, a full porn stash he's sporting there?
Oler said he stands for traditional family values and local autonomy. He said he has a master's degree in public administration from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, but is a staunch critic of higher education. Rigo worked for the county for 21 years, has been a nurse in both the public and private sector. She said she would rather not respond to many of the unusual allegations made by her write-in challenger. You know, sometimes perhaps it's just not best. But I think we should mention, again, Joseph Oler Jr. Out of Laval.
Write him in if you hate witchcraft and all things Madisonian.
Wow. Liberal Madison socialist witches?
You know that guy, the porn stash, unemployed cheese packer?
Yes.
I bet he stands with Scott Walker.
You know he does.
Folks, want to thank all our fine guests today. No Walker, but we had a gubernatorial candidate. He is Dana Wachs. He's a friend of ours. He joined us in studio. Pleased to announce and introduce you fine folks to two new candidates. One was Caleb Frostman. He's running for Wisconsin's 1st Senate District. And the other, Dr. Ann Groves Lloyd. Like them both, she's running for Wisconsin's 42nd Assembly District. Like that district particularly, we cover it entirely with our 1580 AM signal. Thanks for listening, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. And join us tomorrow. We're going to have Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign and more big surprises. I feel quite confident.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
We have found the witch, may we burn her?
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on